Before 8 o'clock, and today is the ANC's 107th birthday. It's the oldest liberation organization on the continent, and since 1994 the ruling party of South Africa. However, it's had its ups and downs since the democratic dispensation, and President Cyril Ramaphosa did reflect on this in the speech that he made the past weekend. Let's get some analysis now with on the ANC with Xolani Dube from the Zubera Institute on Durban, and we cross over to my colleague Sakina. A very good morning to you, Sakina, and good to have you back again. We've seen earlier on at the taxi rank President Cyril Ramaphosa mingling with some of the Durbanites. All right,
Dube Stadium, and this is where today's official celebration of the ANC's 107th anniversary will take place. 107 years old, yes, that's how old the ANC is. It is, of course, the oldest liberation movement on the continent, and since 1994 the ruling party in South Africa. Now, over the years the organization has had its ups and downs, and we're going to delve into and analyze some of the issues that the ANC faces in contemporary South Africa. And joining me to discuss this is, of course, from the Zubera Institute, Xolani Dube, our analyst this morning. Xolani, thanks for coming through. Now, firstly, Dube, are you related to the illustrious Dube folk that we are celebrating here today?
To be quite honest, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
So I thought we could sneak that in and maybe also, you know, make you part of the festivities here and interview you in that regard. And
another thing that we have to understand, in fact, is not Dube. He is Ngobo. And so I'm not Ngobo, and so John Langalbalele Dube, in fact he is the Ngobo and not the Dube. And so, but in the history we always refer to him as Dube because of certain circumstances in the past.
So do tell us about how he became Dube as opposed to Ngobo.
Look, where we are in the area known as the area Yamakati. And the chief or Inkosi around this area is the Ngobos. And so I think him as well, he is the Ngobo. And it happened in the history that the Dube became one of the surname that he at the end of the day ended up adopting as his.
Well, coming back to the African National Congress 107th anniversary, and it's been an interesting one, it's been a difficult one, but what is your assessment of the ANC today and how far they've come over this period?
You know, it's such a very interesting occasion, and the fact that you invoked Dube, and you'll understand that the man himself, when he lost or when he was expelled from the ANC, he lost the election to be precisely, and thereafter he came back to KwaZulu-Natal very disgruntled. Because the ANC felt that to a certain extent has betrayed the organization when he went out and spoke about the issue of land to say a particular group in our society then known as Amakholwa or Amaqhoboka, and one can say the petty bourgeoisie of the time, who they were supposed to have land compared to those who nowadays we can say are the condemned. And so it was kind of a person of a class, and that made him not to be really a favorite person within the ANC. Hence he came back to this province and he started his own ANC of KwaZulu-Natal. And so now one starts to ask a very simple question: how do we appropriate the history of this man, and how do we really try to interrogate the issue of land when it comes to the ANC? And we are here at Nanda, and at the backdrop of that particular discourse of saying this is the man who said, look, that the colonial government then have land, and let the black people who are the middle class also have the right to land. And so he was advocating for a particular sector of our society to have land, but not everyone. And so I think the issue of land at this time and the issue of Dube, where we are, is a very interesting discourse in the ANC as well as in our country, to say who is supposed to have land. Are those who are in the middle class, or everyone is supposed to have land in our country?
And as you rightly point out, Dube was a very interesting person. He was, of course, also the founder of Ilanga, the newspaper. And those who have studied journalism would have encountered Dube in those circles as well. And his association, of course, with certain parts of the colonial regime and how that actually also jarred against some of the natives in the land at the time. So he is a very interesting character. But coming to this occasion right now, the ANC comes into this, some would say, most fractured. The organization has never been more fractured than it is right now. Would you agree with that?
Look, I think ANC as an organization, just like any other organization, and where there is democracy, the issue of fragmentation, the issue of contradiction, I think is most important.
Well, Sakina Kamwendo there speaking to Mr. Xolani Dube from the Zobera Institute in Durban, just giving us an analysis of how the ANC has come till this day. And as we're all aware, the ANC is now celebrating 107 years of its formation. But